Good morning, everyone. One more video for this week. I'm going to do. I'm feeling paradox today. Should we do some paradox? I haven't done paradox in a while. Let's do some paradox. I like a nice paradox. Let's do. Let's do a pink piece of paper, shall we? Sort of a purpley pink. A purpley pink paradox. Let's draw with purple pen. I don't know why. I'm feeling the gel pens lately. So you know what? We're just going to go for them. And we're just going to I'm going to make random shapes to paradox in by just Ooh. Why didn't you draw? Okay. How big of shapes do I want? I want pretty good sized shapes. Make sure that we have That's not a lot of shapes, but they're big, nice, good, chunky shapes. And they're all random. None of them are like this one's a perfect triangle. Everything else is a weird shape, which is good because we can do paradox in weird shapes. It's okay. Absolutely can. So, I'm going to start in this triangle. Make sure you remember you're going to go start in one corner, go to this way, and then turn your page, start here where you just ended, and make it a little bit wide. Start here where you ended, make it a little bit wide, and just go around until you are done. Right? Can you see this? Get a little closer. And usually when I do paradox, I decide if I'm going to do fans or spirals. Depending on what's connected to what is whether you get a fan or a spiral. But today I'm going to just randomly do them. So I really won't know what I'm going to get until I get it. Some of them I'm going to go clockwise, some counterclockwise. And when my shape is big, I go ahead and turn my page until I've gotten it down to a size that is manageable for me to just go around without turning. It's super easy to do. I just have to remember not to smudge my gel pen. Hardest part is remembering that I'm using a gel pen. And once it gets down to a manageable size, I don't have to turn my page anymore. Just like so. Just ends up with being sort of a spiral to the middle, right? Let's do this one, and we're going to do this one this way, because that's the way I feel like going. This one, because this line here is so small, it will end up eventually being a triangle, because we'll end up filling in that spot. See how that's getting smaller? It just kind of filled itself in. That. And if you think your spacing is too big, like that one seems kind of large, I could come in and put another line in there. And your eye would just disappear. And I'll leave it for now. But if I find that I really just don't like that bigger, wider space, then I'm going to close it up. My pen didn't draw very well right there, so I'm going to come back and do that. Go this direction with this one. When you go all one direction, either all clockwise or all counterclockwise, you end up with the spiral. When you alternate, and some are going clockwise and some are going counterclockwise, you end up with the fan shape. Like this is creating the fan shape right here. I have lots of paradox. Try to remember to put this on the paradox playlist. And try to remember to link the paradox playlist on the end screen. Let me write this down. Paradox playlist. Link. Okay. So that you guys can see all the different ways I've done paradox. For me, paradox is one of those patterns that I don't have to think a whole lot. I can think a little bit, but I don't have to think a whole lot. I don't have to plan. I can plan, but I don't have to plan. I just really just love the pattern. And it looks so hard to do. That's what I think I love about it most, is that when people look at my art that has paradox in it, they go, wow, how did you do that? That's so hard. And it's like, no, actually it was very easy. But see how this ended up as a twist and that one ended up as a fan? It's because one of them was clockwise, one of them was counterclockwise. I love that. And it ended up where I wasn't planning it because I kind of jumped around. And I'm going to do that again over here. I don't know what I'm going to end up with because I'm not planning ahead. But for me, it doesn't really matter because I like them both. But sometimes I end up where I want a particular thing, like I really want it to be all fans, or I really want it to be all spirals. So then I have to think a little harder. But I like this because I don't have to think hard, because I'm just letting it just do what it's going to do. Now you see how that one's going to be a weird shape here, and it will also turn into a triangle eventually, because that isn't a very wide shape right there. like that. Now, I don't like that line. So I'm going to put another one in there because I think that was too big. That's what my hand did, and that's fine, but I just felt like it was too big. So I just split it. Your eye's not going to see that it doesn't match the pattern because there's just so much going on. Come over here because that's wet still. That's a lot of sides. What do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 sides on this shape. That's okay. You just keep following thin to thick. See, that one eventually disappeared. It's okay too. Just going to let that kind of go. You guys see what I was doing? Was I completely off screen? Yes. Yes, I was completely off screen. Ah! I hate when I do that. I hate when I do that. And I just realized I had done that because my camera's a little off because I had to change my battery. Okay. I apologize. And I know somebody's going to yell at me in the comments. You know, I'm just a lady with a camera sitting in my studio. I am not a professional videographer by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't have anybody to help me. So when I'm looking at my art, I am not looking at the camera. And because of that, sometimes I'm off screen. And it just is going to happen. I'm not starting over. We're not editing. You know, that's the thing with me is I don't edit. And so because I don't edit, you see all this stuff. A lot of YouTubers would just cut that part out and just go boom, boom, boom. Here's it in the middle, beginning, middle, end. And you don't see the whole process. You don't see how long it actually takes to do. And I don't like that, you know. So I leave in all my mistakes. But I know somebody's going to comment on it. Because people do. People comment on all sorts of things. I don't like your voice. You talk too much. I can't see what's happening. Your hand is in the way. Well, you know, you try it. There's a reason I'm at this weird angle because I've watched a lot of YouTubers who do art and their hand is right there and you can't see a darn thing. I try really hard to have my hand over here so that you can at least see what I'm doing. And I know that sometimes my hand is going to go in front of my art, but most of the time I'm hoping that you can see what I'm doing. But that is the bane of every artist's existence on YouTube, if you really watch them. Sometimes their heads are in the way, sometimes their hands are in the way. It's just... And I know that there's a lot of YouTubers now that have gotten really fancy and have two cameras because they have one pointing down, like kind of over here, up close and personal, because the top one ends up being with your hand in the way a lot. And then they have to sit down and edit their videos and splice in, oh, well, this part here was better with the side camera. This part here was better with the top camera. You know, they sit down and do voiceover because they're either less comfortable talking while they're working, which I don't blame you, because it is really kind of difficult to talk and work at the same time and pay attention to what you're doing. And because they want to not have ums and hums and places where they goof up what they were saying, or cough or sneeze or whatever. I just leave all this stuff in. It's real life. It's how I work. And there's 30,000 of you who seems to have said, or a little bit more than 30,000 of you, that have said that's okay with you. You'll go ahead and subscribe and watch me with all my flaws. I don't put music in the background. I don't fast forward. I don't edit. And that might not make for a good video for a large number of people. A large number of people want to be entertained. They don't want to follow along step by step, and I understand that, and my content is not going to be for everyone, which is why I'm never going to be a giant YouTuber. Do I ever think I'll hit 100,000 subscribers? No. I never will. And that's okay. You know? I am who I am. I am grateful and thankful for everyone who sits down and watches me. I'm even more grateful and thankful for those of you who engage and talk to me in the comments. I really appreciate the comments. Sometimes I can't get to answering comments, but I do read each and every one, and I give you guys a heart. And sometimes the comments don't need an answer. I mean, you've said something that I can tell you're not expecting a response. Sometimes you expect a response, and most of those times I am able to respond, but not always. Or I don't see it for a while because YouTube does strange things. See, look at how fun that is. It's just a thing. It's just, it makes me so happy. Paradox just makes me happy. Just makes me happy. It was easy to do, easy to draw. Now we can put some shading in there if we want, which I think we will, but we're going to do it with a purple. Let's do a nice dark purple. I haven't used this purple very often. What's it called? Mulberry. Let's do a little shading with mulberry. Shading's a little more difficult with a colored pencil than with than with uh, graphite, because you can't blend it out. So you kind of have to color that way. A little bit darker here, a little bit lighter that way, as if you were blending it with a blending stump. So you kind of have to think a little harder with your shading. So sometimes it takes a little longer to color with the colored pencil for shading, but it makes me happy. Do what makes you happy, folks. If your art isn't making you happy, then you're doing something wrong. Either you're not doing the kind of art that your soul wants you to do, or you have caused yourself a problem by putting expectations on yourself that are unrealistic. Those are the two things that happen to me when I am not happy with my art. Now, does that mean I love every single project that I do? No. Sometimes I don't like the result. I just don't. I don't like the result. But does that mean I wasn't happy while I was creating? That's the important part. To me, that the process, the journey, the thing that is the most important is not the end result. When I like my end result, that makes it all the more better. But if I'm having fun in the process and I'm learning something and I've just played, if what I've played with isn't aesthetically pleasing to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That doesn't mean I'm not happy. It's when I'm unhappy with what I'm even doing, not the process, but yeah, if I'm unhappy in the process, if coloring no longer makes me happy, if drawing no longer makes me happy, not the results of the drawing, but the act itself, if that's no longer making me happy, then I need to evaluate what's going on in my life. You know, does that mean I'm struggling mentally? Does it mean that I have created unrealistic expectations of myself so that I'm no longer having fun in the process? You know, am I starting to expect perfection every time I pick up a pen? Because if that's in my head, then I'm not going to be having fun picking up a pen, you know. I want a little shading here. Or maybe I've gotten to the point where a particular art form is no longer serving me. It's not something I'm enjoying at the moment. And maybe it's time to take a break and do something else. I've had that happen too. I have all sorts of half-finished, unfinished art projects in my studio and in my house. Half done, a lot of half done textile things, you know, cross stitch and that sort of stuff, because it was no longer making me happy. I was no longer enjoying the process. So I just stopped. And so I've got half done projects. Now, does that mean I will never pick up a textile project ever again? I don't know. That's why I keep it. That's why I still have the projects, because I may decide that drawing is now something I am no longer happy with. The process is no longer giving me joy, and that I need to move on to something else and maybe go back to a textile project for a little while. But what I have found, I did tend to jump from project to project for a really, really long time. I would start things, I would stop things, I would move things from one to another. Um, but when I found drawing patterns does something to my brain that makes me happy. Uh, and I've been doing it longer than I have done any other art project in my whole life. Now, I've done art all my life of one type or another, whether it's drawing or painting or sculpture or textiles. I've done something artsy my whole life. So, doing art doesn't surprise me. But it does surprise me that I have stayed with this art form for so long. And I don't know, there's something about the patterns that just make me happy. I think there's something about the simplicity of being able to draw something that looks complex but isn't. Like, that looks so hard to do, and it was just the easiest thing to draw. And it just makes me happy. I want some highlights, but I don't want them in white. I think I want them in light pink or a light purple. This kind of purpley pink. Lavender light. I'm going to try this and see what happens. If worse comes to worse, then I get out my white pencil. But is that what I want? No, it's not. It's not contrasty enough. Okay. All right. All right. I hear you. How about this? Nope. Don't like that either. I mean, it's okay, but it's not what I want. I'm wondering if a yellow will do what I want without needing white. Yes. Ooh, purple and yellow go well together. See that? Look at that. Does it make you happy? Makes me happy. Did I start out today? Did I sit down today and say, I am going to make a purple and yellow page? I did not. I did not have anything pre-loaded in my brain. I just went with whatever felt at the moment. I picked my paper and it's like, okay, I'm feeling purple. I didn't sit down and say, I'm feeling purple. And that's what I think is weird sometimes. See, I'm just going to waffle on here, and, it is what it is. And you guys can fast forward or you can move on. Something's with this pencil. It's got a little bit of orange in it. I don't know why. You guys probably can't see that, but it's got like a little well, that's better. I don't know. It had gotten contaminated somehow. Somewhere along the way in my coloring, I had contaminated it. Like I was going to say, if you guys don't like me waffling on, well, this is what I do. I waffle. I chit chat. I have conversation. This also is probably part of why I enjoy doing this, is the mental health aspect of me just chit-chatting with you guys. Stream of consciousness is sometimes a very good mental health outlet, you know? I still might end up with a little white. I like the yellow though with the purple. It makes me happy. All right. Am I leaving it like that? I think I am. I think I'm just leaving it like that. I could put some white highlights, but I think I'm just leaving it like that. I'm really happy with how that looks, and I'm happy with how I feel. And that's even more important than the fact that I'm happy with how it looks. I'm hoping that you guys can do something nice for someone today and do something that makes you happy, like really truly happy inside. I'm hoping that that is something that you can really be blessed with today, and go forth and do something that makes you truly happy. And I will see you guys on the next video, whatever that happens to be. It's going to be next week. We're going to be moving on to the second week of July. God, how can that possibly be? I had so many things I wanted to do this year, and like, it's not happening. It's just not happening. Oh well, life is life, and it moves on without us sometimes when we're least expecting it. Okay, I have things to do this afternoon. Husband should be home shortly. We have a party to attend. So I guess I am done for today. You guys have a great day. I will see you on the next video. Go out and do something nice for someone today. Make the world a better place, one person at a time. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.